awakeandawaretv.
Thanks for coming along to have the interview with me. I just want to ask what your name is and what you do.
Yes, so my name is Free Spirit and I'm the author of 3 books and I teach Ascension online and at conferences and workshops.
Okay, can you just elaborate what Ascension is for those who are not familiar?
Yes, so Ascension is basically the process of releasing the denser energies within our being so that we can ascend into a higher vibration of consciousness. And ultimately the purpose of this ascension process is to transmute the physical body and return to the planes of light.
So do you have a lot of people that are connecting to you in terms of wanting to learn how to ascend, or are you finding that a lot of people are not aware of what's happening or what's going on in their lives at the moment?
I have about several thousand people online. I have 2,000 YouTube followers, 3,000 Facebook people, and there's a lot of people asking questions this time about how we can make it through the shifts, how we can transform the karma, and how they can cleanse the pineal gland. So it's definitely a big topic of interest at this time.
I mean, for those people that are completely unfamiliar with this, I understand that there's a massive shift going on in consciousness, and some people are waking up and realising that there has been a past life and they're here for a particular purpose. Or, I mean, is that something that's making sense to you as well?
Definitely, but the first thing that people need to do at this time is to address their fear issues, because fear keeps people very contracted and it prevents them from opening their minds to different possibilities. And until people unplug from this energy of fear, it's very difficult to assimilate anything and make any big progress toward ascension. And once that fear is actually gone, then things start to make more sense and people are more receptive to understanding. Many people are actually afraid of death, and the fear of death is actually very harmful because it prevents the spirit body travelling in the dream time and in meditation. And this fear of death keeps people trapped in the physical body. And when people work through this fear of death, they'll find that they'll be able to access these non-physical planes and tap into a huge cosmic vibration of intelligence. And this can totally transform their lives. So that's just one example of how fear can either keep you trapped or it can liberate you if you transform it.
So you mean the first step for people is to address their current fears?
Address their current fears, and at the same time they need to be cleansing their bodies, because as many people are probably aware, there's a lot of toxins in the environment, in people's diets, and these toxins prevent people from having a clear channel to spirit. So it's a two-step process, and both things have to happen at the same time. So there's the healing the fear, and there's the cleansing the physical body, all the junk foods and harmful toxins.
So is that something to do with cleaning out the pineal gland that you were saying?
Basically, cleaning out the pineal gland is the biggest part of the physical cleansing, yes, because the pineal gland is poisoned by substances in tap water, in acidic foods and different pharmaceutical chemicals. And these poisons prevent people from seeing with their spiritual third eye. So yes, this is a very important part of the process. People need to educate themselves about these toxins and start the cleansing.
When did you first realise who you were and what you were supposed to do?
Probably 2009 is when I had a huge spiritual awakening. I used to meditate before then, but in 2009 I cleansed my pineal gland. I had both mercury fillings taken out, and after that I was able to contact star beings in different dimensions, and that's when my work as an Ascension teacher took off.
Did that just happen organically then whilst you were doing a meditation?
It happened organically as a process of healing fears alongside the pineal detox. First of all, it's very subtle, but later on it became very obvious that I was tapping into a different energy frequency.
Can you explain a bit more about the actual process when it first happened? You're saying that you were doing meditations anyway, but
I was doing meditations anyway, and at the same time I was doing a lot of work with dreaming, and because I cleansed the pineal gland, I was able to go deeper in the dream world, and different dimensional beings made themselves known, and they said we are star beings in different star systems and different planets, and we're here to help humanity with the ascension process. And they said because your consciousness is clearing up, you're able to see us now. And over a period of time that got stronger, and those experiences started to happen in the waking world.
are you saying that everyone that gets on with focusing on cleansing their body, maybe eating raw or just focusing on detoxing, and eventually will get round to the pineal gland detox, can have the same contact that you had?
I believe so. If people make it their life work to heal, if they engage with the emotional cleansing and the physical cleansing, then sooner or later they'll be able to reach this level of consciousness where these things become second nature. It requires a lot of effort and discipline, but it does pay off.
Did you speak to the star beings?
Many times I spoke to the star beings in my dreams and meditations, and then they started to speak through the channel of writing. So they encouraged me to write books, and now I have this open channel with them so I can leave my body and go to their dimension and just engage with these beings.
Would you say you communicate from within yourself, or when you say channel, do you let an entity into yourself, or are you always within your own power and just receiving messages from the star beings?
I always keep my own power. I don't let any guard down, but it's a very trusting relationship. There's love that comes through from these star beings, and there's a trust there. And I found as I let go of my fear, they were able to communicate with me on a deeper level through telepathy and through downloading. I just find there'd be lots of information in my mind. And then when I sat next to a computer, I could write several chapters of a book in a few hours.
You're basically saying the source of information is received from these loving star beings that you have an open channel with now?
Yes.
How does one discern that the place that you are being taught and teaching others to ascend to is, as you would put it, source?
In my experience, I've just found that the proof is in the transformation and the healing, the shifts I've experienced in my own life. Every time I communicate with these beings or have an experience, there's very positive shifting and change in my life, and I've become more loving, more accepting, happier, and everything else. So it seems to me to be very real and empowering, and since having this relationship with these beings, I've become very empowered. I've been able to heal karma, heal fear, and learn how to receive love. So it's been very transformative.
So would you say that humans really need to start to try to connect to, the external source, which is probably something in them anyway? I mean, if we all come from source, to be able to have a more fulfilling and realer 3D existence?
I'd say the main spiritual purpose for any human being is to connect with that source presence inside, and that source can appear outside in terms of a star being or a different planet, but ultimately the outside and the inside are just the same reality. But that is the main purpose for all people, to come back to their awareness of source. Many people won't be able to do that until they've taken the preliminary steps, which is doing the cleansing of the body, working through the emotions, because all these blockages prevent people from seeing this deeper vibration of source, truth.
Do the star beings tell you about the history of the evolution of humanity or anything like that? Or do they just give you the basic mission that you're sent to sort of awaken or help ascension?
They give me the same message generally. That message is that all human beings are on a vibratory journey, and this reality isn't the only reality that there is. And these beings explain that the 3D world is starting to enter a period of intense contraction, and to avoid a lot of suffering, people need to make that shift into a higher vibrating dimension so as to be able to escape collapse issues and earth changes.
Is there a reason why we don't remember when we come into this earth where we've been? Is there a reason why there are distortions when we enter into our vessel?
The reason why we forget everything when we come in is because before we came here, we lived in the vibration of timelessness and immortality, and there's a great connection of oneness with everything. And as soon as one comes down into a physical body, one loses that stronger connection to source and the universe, and that's what causes people to forget. And then when people are born, they have this karmic predisposition to feel fear, and the responses to fear cause a deepening separation and a deepening of the forgetting, to the point where people just have no idea who they are on a high level.
I read somewhere that you said that you were sent from another planet as a star being, or something to that effect, that you made an agreement to come onto Earth to do this mission. Is that the same with most humans, but they've just forgotten? Or
I believe all humans will have a purpose in this lifetime. I don't believe every single human being has a big mission. Some people may just be here to be farmers or fishermen or whatever, but I do believe there's a certain percentage of humanity that have come here from a different planet in order to be like a way shower, light worker, to show the path to a higher dimension of consciousness. And it's these light workers that have the mission.
There was another question I wanted to ask, how one can actually explain all the sort of corruption and distortion and sadness and, misery that, humanity also puts itself through.
Every single creation of suffering on this planet is caused by human beings not understanding who they really are, so they forget their source presence, and as soon as they forget their source presence, they come out of their energy. Then they feel the vibration of lack or something missing, and then they engage with other people in all kinds of control dramas and games in order to compensate for that lack, that missing void, and then that just causes all kinds of confusions, conflicts, and everything else. So people just get caught up in a huge emotional and karmic tangle. And the work of the Ascension process is to actually come out of that and to release yourself from playing out those games and dramas.
Do you think that people deep down know that they have responsibilities to find themselves, or do you think that it's something that will come to you, like if you maybe look at your journey or other people you've worked with and how they've awoken?
I feel that people will find the awareness of their own journey when the time is right, when they come into a deeper self-awareness. When they start to awaken, there'll come a certain point on the journey, they'll become self-aware enough to realise that they have a higher purpose, they have a mission, they have a karmic obligation to heal and release things. And once people have that awareness, they can start to empower themselves and climb out of the drama and the karma.
And what happens to people that you might have shared, or other people share insights into, and they don't recognise, don't respond, or think it's crazy? What happens to their, incarnation cycle? Does it mean that they've got to come back more times, or how does one explain that?
Well, I believe at this time that human beings are going to separate out into two groups, and there's a group of human beings that won't have to come back again to 3D. So those humans are going to ascend in this lifetime without dying. So they're going to cross over into 5D. So that's the first group. And the second group of humans are those people that have chosen on some level not to ascend in this lifetime. So those people would just undergo a death process and then reincarnate again in 3D, but it'd be on a different planet elsewhere in the universe, because this Earth is moving up through the dimensions, and sooner or later this Earth won't be able to support 3D beings, it will just be supporting 5D beings.
Are you talking about physical ascension on a cloud, or just literally off the ground up back to source, or are you talking about a shift in consciousness, or are you talking about both?
Basically both of them, and the planet itself is actually transmuting the matter, and the particles within the planet itself are being transmuted by the central sun, and basically what that's doing is pushing this whole planet into a different energetic frequency. And once that shift has completed, only beings with a high vibration will be able to remain on this planet. So it's a thorough physical transmutation process.
What can you repeat that? A solar physical, what did you say?
It's a full, total physical process.
Right.
Yeah, the matter is being transmuted into a different vibration. And what that means is all beings staying with the Earth will become fifth dimensional. And that's because of the energies coming from the central galactic sun.
Have you met people that are going through this same awareness and awakening, and When you say you help them to ascend, is it literally just helping them to detox and do one step at a time, or are there more things that you tell certain people based on what they are going through in their experiences?
At this stage, I help people to cleanse, to address their karmas, to heal their fears. And if people are ready, I'll help them to start astral traveling and going into dream time and going deeper with that. And later on in the process, I'll start coaching people with the full ascension process, transmuting the physical body into a higher vibrating frequency.
When you say astral travel, can you just expand a bit?
Yeah, so the astral travel is about the spirit body coming out of the physical body, and the astral planes are like 5D, 6D, 7D, so I can help people using Merkabahs and using the dream time to access those planes whilst they're sleeping, and I can help people to become conscious of that. When people become conscious of their dreams and their travels, then when they wake up they can remember that, and then they have this connection to the astral plane whilst they're awake. And when people have this, then the doorway opens into these higher dimensional frequencies.
So you mean you can actually be on different dimensions whilst you're awake as well as in your dream time if you're that advanced?
You can. That's the end result of the process. Like in the beginning, people have the experience of leaving their body and traveling millions of years across the galaxy. And as people become more grounded in the waking world, all those dimensions can be experienced at once. So I can sit here and talk to you in this interview, and at the same time I can be on a planet 2 million light years from here and have both of those experiences at once.
When you talk about dimensions, are there different dimensions?
Yes, there's many dimensions of frequency, and the more energy you can hold in your body, and the higher dimensions you can open up and access. And there's a whole strata of dimensions that lead all the way back to source. And as people explore these deeper dimensions, in the end they'll come to the central galactic sun. And this is basically an external projection of their own source being inside, and at that point inside and the outside become one, and then there's a total spiritual integration, and then all dimensions are inside one's being as opposed to appearing outside.
Are you saying that the projection or the reality we are sitting in to ourselves, the perspective of that is a projection of where we are in terms of our inner dimension?
I believe where we are now, this reality is simply a projection in order to awaken us from the dream, because right now many people believe they're actually awake, and when people dream they think they're dreaming, but it seems to me the process is reversed. And in the waking world, we're dreaming, and when we're dreaming, we're actually in the real. That seems very confusing to many people, but if they explore this, they can discover that this is true, and then they'll realize that this whole reality on this planet right now is just a creation of the mind. It's like a holodeck program on Star Trek. It doesn't have any deeper reality than that.
Can I ask how many dimensions you know exist?
It depends on the actual consciousness that's perceiving the dimensions, because you can split them up into millions and millions of pieces, or you could just separate them up into 2 or 3 bands. But when I write in my books, I generally refer to 12 dimensions, 12 different areas of energetic frequency. And once you get past that, you come to your I am presence, your God presence.
Do you know what fallen angelics are? Can you explain what those are?
Yes, I believe fallen angelic beings are people or there are souls that lived on a higher frequency as immortal beings. And these immortal beings fell back into this dimension. Either they lost sight of their source nature, or they became corrupted by some kind of lower fear energy, and as a result of that they spiraled downwards, and basically they fell out of heaven into a dimension of mortality and death, and by doing so they then took on a physical body.
Do we have anything to fear in our evolution in terms of, choosing the wrong path or something like that?
I don't believe we should have so much fear about anything external, but what we do need to do is just take responsibility for our own choices and realise that our reality manifests as a result of the thoughts and emotions that we have running in our being. So if we ignore any issues, then that's going to generate unfortunate circumstances. And conversely, if people take responsibility for their consciousness, their energy, they can start to create in their lives what they want to happen. So it's all about taking their power back and taking control of one's own life and deciding what one wants to experience and what one doesn't want to experience.
Can you just list me the first steps you would say for anyone listening to this in terms of being self-empowered again and remembering who they really are on this planet?
Yeah, so I'd say the first steps for many people be to begin meditating, just come back to their own awareness, just do the deep breathing, feel into the heart chakra and start to develop more awareness. And the process of doing that is going to enable people to awaken to their deeper emotions and any karmic blockages there may be. So definitely meditation is very powerful for many people, and once they've engaged with this path of meditation, they need to look at the aspects of pineal poisoning as well. So those two things are happening simultaneously. And self-empowerment is about releasing energy from external circumstances that are not so favourable. So people need to look at their relationship issues, the kind of jobs they do, where they live, what kind of energies around them, and start making conscious changes to support a better vibration of being.
You spoke about the pineal gland actually getting poisoned. Are you saying that there's an external thing that's happening, or a conscious thing that's happening, where we are consciously being poisoned or controlled or something?
I believe that there's a batch of poisons in the diet, in the water and in the environment that have been put there by people trying to control humanity and keep people suppressed. And people don't want to get into too much fear about governments poisoning us, but they just need to educate themselves as to where these toxins are and avoid them. These toxins are in the water, they're in many different kinds of foods and are being sprayed in the air with the chemtrails. So all these things get into the pineal gland and prevents people from awakening to their angelic abilities.
Is there anything that you would like to say additionally to what we've spoken about?
I think the main thing I'd like to say to people is to really start to question your reality and investigate things around you and go on a quest for truth. And it's like the Matrix, going down the rabbit hole. Once you started going down the rabbit hole, you have to follow it to the end. And when you go on this quest for truth and self-discovery and awakening, then these different dimensional realities will become manifest and everything will make sense.
Oh, I forgot. There was another question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about your theory on twin flames, because it was something I didn't know existed anyway. And then obviously you spoke about twin flames as well. Can you explain the existing theory and then your theory?
Yes, I mean, the existing theory about twin flames is that when we came from source, straight away we separated into a male and female counterpart, and that male and that female went elsewhere in different directions through many different lifetimes. And the theory is that those two individuals can come together in this dimension and have an amazing relationship and become twin flames reunited. And in my personal life, I've gone through a lot of process with this, and myself, I've come to believe that there isn't really a twin flame for me, because I'm complete in myself from source, and I don't require any external being to make me complete. And by understanding that, I've found my relationships are far more harmonious and loving than they were when I had this attachment to this twin flame theory.
So when you say you come from source and you split in this original twin flame theory, why do you split when you come out from source?
Well, the theory goes that when you come from source, source is neither male or female, but in order to come into this dimension, you have to take a particular sex, either male or female. And the theory says because of that, then your soul becomes two, the masculine aspect separates from the feminine aspect, and then those two souls go their separate ways. I don't believe that theory is actually so helpful, because it creates a lot of separation from the masculine and feminine within, and it gets people searching for magical partners that may exist out there.
That's just an example of people not giving themselves all the love that they originally need in the first place, and thinking that they can fill the void with an external presence.
Yes, if they come back to themselves, self-love, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, they come into a place of love, the place of just being. In that place of just being and a vibration of love, then people will attract the kind of relationships that are going to help them on the path. But when people search for a twin flame, then they're coming out of their I am presence, and they're needing this external person to compensate for this separation.
Doesn't that mean that you can be with one person, but equally you can be with many different people and have the same level of being?
In my experience, just by being in my I am presence, I can attract a relationship that's suitable for me, one other person And I feel some people may be able to have several relationships at once, but for me, I've not found this so helpful, because when two people have a relationship, they're holding like an energy for transformation, for growth and healing. And if there's too many people in there, it becomes unwieldy and becomes karmically entangling. I don't believe it's possible to hold a high vibration if there's too many relationships going on at the same time. That's my perspective on it.
And can you just tell me what you understand about indigo children?
Indigo children, I just believe, are higher vibrating individuals that have incarnated onto this planet at this time, and they carry a particular energy, and they're here to assist the ascension of the earth. They're not here to assist the ascension of humanity as such. They're here for the planet. But those people that awaken to new energies can benefit from their presence.
Thank you so much for all your time and your answers to my question.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure to have this discussion.
Awakened Aware TV.